Just like my obese ex-husband, the main character has a talent which consists in the fact that he can eat everything in any quantity and also adopt the features of what he ate. He did various things to fulfill himself, just like that Kirby guy, but without the wet gawk gawk 3000 action that he misses from me. Eventually, he became a poacher in Africa. In this case, he has a partner named Hispanic, which honestly, what kind of name is that? Is he Cuban? Mexican? Canadian? Who knows? They receive an order from a certain lightning general. The task is to extract the heads and hands of gorillas, which is totally not racist at all, by the way. The next day they go hunting, and the main character notices a large number of soldiers in the forest, which is why they have to hide in the bushes, confused by the fact this shit is not Call of Duty, and you can't just pull out the intervention and pull a sick-ass 2008 YouTube montage. He asks his partner about the direction in which they are moving after the hopeful answer from the Hispanic that he knows where to go. People with weapons and in special uniforms that looks like overpriced FaZe Clan merch that was worn out and donated to Goodwill appear out of the forest at lightning speed like they are lighting McQueen. Thereby surrounding these two, as it turned out all this was planned, it was an ambush to catch the main character. His partner turned out to be an unmember who worked for a special international police agency, and his real name is Eddie Montoya, which sounds like a dumb mix of Tony Montana and Eddie Guerrero. They call him Pet Shop because he's a fucking snitch narc who works for a special international police agency. Also, he spent all the money he earned on buying the rarest animals, after which he devoured them all like a Kabbalistic shiny Pokemon hunter. The criminal is detained on charges of these and other crimes, handcuffed, and then put in a car and driven to an unknown final destination, no items Fox only. Suddenly, someone called Eddie saying that there were 2 moons in the sky. This not only shocked him, but also angered him, completely incomprehensible. To be honest, I have no idea what this means either. Things began to happen to the car, it began to shake, after which Mr. Kim Jong-un uses his ability to transform and then kills everyone in the car, just like he would do back home. As soon as he destroyed the Patty Pussy wagon, he went outside and was able to make sure that there were really 2 moons in the night sky, as if this was some Planets of the Apes shit, which means that this is not the Earth, but something completely different. Suddenly, a pack of wolves ran out of the forest and attacked the main character, whose name we already forgot, who had already turned into a tiger after learning that it was not possible to bite through the skin of a wolf like it was some overcooked turkey that your Caucasian friends served you at Thanksgiving, which you really regret going. He decided to change the appearance of a tiger to a hippopotamus and teeth to a shark, thereby killing and eating the attackers as if the only local Chinese buffet in town for miles was going to get shut down soon by the health inspectors. After a week during which Kim Jong-un managed to hunt various animals, a bear paws a snake either poisonous or harmless, a deer with horns sharp as an awl. He went further to explore the area as if he left Whiterun in Skyrim for the first time. I met a guy who immediately died, impaled on the horns of a deer running past, and it was pretty fucking metal. I could watch it again. The ability of the protagonist allows you to take the form of the victim's brain and gain access to her memories, as if you're watching the new episode of The Last of Us. Thus, thanks to this murdered man, he mastered the local language just as good as I'm reading this god-awful, incomprehensible dogshit manhwa script. I found a D&D monster handbook which I could find out about the inhabitants of this place, like if Professor Oak dragged me out of bed to go outside and catch them all. 2 months later, Pet Shop is engaged in various research and experiments on animals the Great Forest of the North. The main character goes to the internet, 4chan trolls for further use in the experiment after hitting one of them in order to stop the troll's rapid regeneration. It makes a venomous bite paralyzing that won during the experiments. He learns that skills really exist. Skills do not work against those who possess them, and damage unrelated to the use of abilities can be inflicted on any organism. Kim Jong-un is immune to skills as he is a North Korean earthling, and for others, his attacks are deadly. Since childhood, he wanted to be the strongest like his dad, and in such a place there is an opportunity to do it. A certain character appears in front of us saying that he has been reborn into a slime, just like my hentais that I watch every night. He can eat everything in a row, getting satiated like a trip to the golden coral. But at the same time spending his soul, he was chosen by the goddess of this island, Elmwood Island, as a worthless consumable item, like it's from a Chinese bootleg gacha game. Then a warrior chosen by the goddess Big Mommy Milkers appears, who follows moral precepts and protects people. The more danger humanity is exposed to, the stronger the warrior becomes thanks to the grace of the giant Big Mommy Milkers goddess. He tells about a terrible monster that brought disaster to the whole world, from whose power he died like a stupid bitch, getting no-scooped 360D in Black Ops. Opening his eyes again, the warrior realized that he had returned 10 years ago when the Twin Towers was still up. The goddess has given him one last chance for him to not fuck this up, and now he must stop the monster. After talking with the elder, the warrior learned about the frequent disappearance of 4 Chan trolls. Recently, he went to their habitat to catch the monster. Meanwhile, the main character goes to the swamps of Dagoba for the conspiracy lizard men. For their further absorption, we return to the warrior who met Slime on his way. He mistook him for a monster. His target after attacking Slime, the warrior leaves and Slime crawls into the cave to regenerate after the amazing hentai session. The author tells about Slime's past life. Previously, he was a furry World of Warcraft, erotic role player who was considered trash by others, lived according to his instincts, did not strain himself, did not listen to his parents who later turned away from him because he got fat and still a virgin by the age of 40. He never found a job, and so it turned out that somehow he ended up here, and even in the body of the hornest Slime, in his opinion. According to him, he realized that he was the chosen owner of this place, despite his dog-shit, disgusting appearance, which he received because of the pet shop. At this moment, a pet shop comes to the cave and the Slime jumps into his mouth in order to make him come from the inside. Then it turns out to be inside the main character and digest it. Kim Jong-un recalls and lists the events that have happened over the past 2 weeks, while he was back in North Korea sentencing visiting American college students to labor camps. Starting with the bad ones, firstly, now his laboratory is good for nothing, and secondly, while he was hunting Liz, some slime splattered everything here. Now he tells us about the good. After he was attacked by a slime, jumped into it, and digested in his stomach for a sexy good time. He acquired new skills that turned out to be very interesting and useful. For example, the ability to devour metals and adopt their shape. We are transported to the dragon lands where he used all the bad dragons in his asshole. In the great forests, a sexy, scaly dragoness without a name lives there, since lonely and proud dragons do not need it. But she has a nickname from her admirers, the Scarlet Spark Buttplug. Dancing in the sky in her cup, whom she jealously protects, the conspiracy lizards of this forest worship her because of their regular bad dragon offerings in the form of treasures. They are safe, but with all this, her attentiveness weakened after the birth of the child from the dragon orgy. She decides to fly and check the situation around, not feeling any danger, and not hoping for something unusual during the flight. She will notice traces of the battle, realizing that someone has invaded her territory like it's a game of Risk. This situation awakens her anger in an unquenchable sense of revenge, like when or place a order on DoorDash for sweet and sour sauce, yet they never bothered to add it in the bag. Pet Shop at this time is studying the fact that the body of lizard men is covered with dense scales, which is covered with mysterious dragon sexual organ goo, which plays the role of an antiseptic and an antibiotic like my grandmother's chemo pills. He mentions that this very slime has an ode orientation, whereas slime is a combination of several. Thus, we find out that if the main character, whose name we still forgot, absorbs metal and transforms the slime into a Metal Gear slime, then he will definitely become stronger, not for honor, but for you. A problem appears before him, which is the question of finding pure iron. He decides to use the eyes of the falcon, after which he notices a target on the mountain opposite, which will be difficult to reach since this place is the territory of the World of Warcraft orcs. At the same moment, a dragon flies right over his head, and he comes up with a really shitty plan that will be implemented a little later. Pet Shop studies the characteristics of World of Warcraft orcs in the Monster Handbook, learning that they are evil creatures that value honor and pride, and having large, spiny cocks. As well as these are creatures that are classified as monsters. We move to the Bad Dragon's Lair, a cave in which not only the MILF mother, but also her cub is located since she was going to fly away. She forced the baby, which honestly should have been aborted, to stay inside and not go out 30 minutes. Earlier, Kim George Uno was tracking down the dragon's habitat at the expense of the 9/11 conspiracy lizard man's brain. It turned out to be easier than he had implied on the way he meets a magical barrier that he had already seen earlier in his repressed, disturbing memories with the church's priest, but it does not work against an Earthman. So Kim Gorgie Uno Draw 4 calmly passes through it. The main character comic guy climbs the mountain into the dragon's lair itself while having an appearance consisting of 4 Chan troll fangs, scales of a horny BDSM fatal bite, and body parts of several other terrestrial creatures he obtained from the black market, as he created such an appearance in order to fool the unaborted dragon child. The kid tries to drive the pet shop away, but it turns out to be in vain. The main character notices and takes with him riches next to which there were not even minerals extracted in crypto mines. A week later, we returned to the MILF Dragoness, who never found out anything after 7 whole days at the shady Trump Hotel near the anime con. Upon returning to her house, she notices a suspicious oddity. The child does not meet her. The baby turned out to be lying unconscious on the side, waking up with the child tells about the invasion of their house by a racist creature with big teeth and red skin, like the oldest guy from your local community college. The main character's plan worked. The dragon mistook him for a shitty orc cosplay. The baby's mother becomes enraged and goes to the World of Warcraft orcs to brutally, fully, and with all cruelty, avenge her child, Bobby Kotick style. One of the orcs summoned with the sound of a horn all the others from the great forest. The orgy began lasting 4 days and 4 nights. As a result, the victory was won by the orcs. While they suffered far from small losses, about 12.5 survived. They left the great forest after the orgy, thereby leaving the main character, whose name is probably Jim or something. At this point, a delicious dinner consisting of a huge number of orcs' cocks as well as a large and powerful bad dragon, the baby bad dragon ceases to feel a connection with her, which is why she cries bitterly like a huge crybaby and acquires a new strength, after which she spreads her wings and heads in a direction that is not yet known to us. Our attention is again focused on Jim, who in turn remembers everyone he ate during his stay in this mysterious place. He lists such creatures as Hard Wolf Cock Troll Lizardmen, Willy Orc Special Member, and of course the Bad Dragon Extra Large, and many other monsters that now he has managed to try everyone from the Monster Handbook, so there is nothing more to do here. He meets a merchant with a horse-drawn cart and says that he has lost his memory, oddly enough, like it's every anime plot in existence. The stranger tells that such a phenomenon is quite common, since this place is quite dangerous. The man continues to talk about this territory, illegal push that will bring back youth layers of rare monsters, treasures of ancient kingdoms. There are so many jewels and shekels here that even one of them can change your life. Which is why helpful Jewish people are so eager to get into the great forests. Basically, they all die, or they suffer the same fate as the Jim if they are lucky. Of course, the merchant anxiously asks Kim Jungle Book to be careful, which he agrees to. Another stupid pet shop plan was the pretense that we have just observed he lied about his common anime memory loss during the accident and headed to the city with the merchant who told him the local rules. Thanks to this, he learned almost everything except one, the status window update. It allows you to find out the position of a person as if you're an NSA agent. But for some reason, he can't use it, assuming that the reason lies in the fact that he is not from this world. He continued on his way once in a city called Detroit. I was surprised as it turned out to be huge. Kim Jum Uncle noticed that it was much cleaner here than he thought. He caught sight of a recommendation written on a piece of paper that was attached to the wall of one of the buildings. It read, "In order to avoid infectious diseases, follow the rules of personal STD hygiene." After a good time reading this information, he thought about how much dog shit this civilization is developed and how he should burn it to the ground. Here, locals passed by him discussing quite interesting things. They talked about the fact that only the royal capital is so clean, and all this is thanks to the second prince and what he did on January 6th. He was the first to guess that diseases are primarily related to hygiene at the age of 10 because he read it on Wikipedia once. He was already very gifted. It was also mentioned that the second prince is due to visit this city next month for his quinceañera, and they would like to see him. Jim reminds us that on Earth, the concept of hygiene was widely spread only after COVID, and here it is the Middle Ages. And how did a retarded little boy even guess about this? The guy suggested the possibility of someone else besides him preserving memories of the Earth, like if he has an iPhone or something. Sometime later, he happened to meet the second prince. What was the prince's surprise, after all, when it turned out that the man he had ambushed in the forest was standing in front of him before he got to an unknown island is Tony Montana. Eddie Guerrero is a member of the UN. Please help. I'm being held hostage reading this schizo script at gunpoint. This is not a joke. Please subscribe if you want to find out what happens next. Thank you for watching.